My ex told me he'd take me back tomorrow. Give me one reason not to leave you for him, she said during dinner. I asked, can you give me one reason I should stay at all? Paid my half of the bill and left. A few days later, she appeared at my doorstep crying. I, 28, male, had been with Maya, 26, for 2 years. During what should have been a romantic dinner at her favorite Italian restaurant, she leaned back in her chair, wine glass in hand, and said the words that ended everything. My ex told me he'd take me back tomorrow. Give me one reason not to leave you for him. The restaurant noise faded. I set down my fork, looked at her calm, testing expression, and asked the only question that mattered. Can you give me one reason I should stay at all? Her smile faltered. I pulled out my wallet, counted exact bills for my half of the meal plus tip, placed them on the white tablecloth, and stood. She started to speak, but I was already walking toward the exit. 3 days later, she appeared at my doorstep at 11 p.m., mascara streaked, claiming she made a terrible mistake. By then, I had learned exactly how calculated that dinner conversation had been. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to how we got there. Maya and I met at a mutual friend's birthday party in early 2023. She was a graphic designer with an infectious laugh and a way of making everyone in the room feel seen. Our first date stretched from coffee at 2 p.m. to dinner at 9. Within 3 months, we were spending every weekend together. Within 6, she had a drawer at my place. For the first year, things felt easy. She introduced me to her close friend Lisa, her parents, her favorite hidden spots around the city. I met her world, and she met mine. My best friend James called us disgustingly happy after we showed up to his Super Bowl party holding hands. But there were small things I noticed. She talked about her ex, Derek, more than seemed normal for someone who had been broken up with him for 8 months before we met. At first, it was harmless context. Derek and I used to go to this brunch spot. Derek's family owns a cabin near here. I didn't think much of it. Most people have exes. Most people have histories. By month 14, the mentions increased. She would compare my career choices to his. Derek always said marketing was more stable than freelancing. When I suggested a weekend trip to the mountains, she said, Derek took me somewhere like that once. It was nice, but expensive. I started noticing a pattern. Whenever we had a disagreement, even a small one about where to eat or which movie to watch, Derek's name appeared. Derek never minded trying new restaurants. Derek would have just picked something and been fine with it. It felt less like nostalgia and more like a scoreboard I didn't know I was losing. Around month 18, she started texting him again. She told me it was casual, friendly, nothing to worry about. They had mutual friends. They ran in overlapping professional circles. It made sense to stay cordial. I told myself I trusted her. I told myself insecurity was unattractive. But the texts became calls. The calls became coffee meetups to catch up. She would come home from those meetups quieter, more distant. When I asked if everything was okay, she would say she was tired or stressed about a project at work. I didn't push. I wanted to be the understanding boyfriend, the one who didn't make her feel controlled or jealous. By month 22, 2 months before that dinner, I could feel her slipping away. She stopped initiating plans. She stopped laughing at my jokes the way she used to. When I reached for her hand while we watched TV, she would hold it for a moment, then shift positions and let go. Sex became infrequent, mechanical. The light in her eyes when she looked at me had dimmed. I asked her directly one night in early October, "Are we okay? You seem distant." She sighed, looked at her phone, then back at me. "I'm fine. Just a lot on my mind. Work, family stuff. It's not about us." But it was about us. Or rather, it was about her wanting to see if she still had options. 3 weeks before the dinner, she started mentioning Derek almost daily. Derek got promoted to senior director. Derek bought a new car. Derek's thinking about moving to a bigger place downtown. I noticed she knew these details in real time. They weren't vague updates from mutual friends. They were fresh, personal, like she was getting live commentary directly from him. When I asked how she knew so much about his life, she shrugged. "We talk sometimes." I told you that. Sometimes had become constantly. I saw his name on her phone screen when notifications popped up. I wasn't snooping. She would leave her phone face up on the table while we ate, while we sat on the couch, while we brushed our teeth side by side in the bathroom. Derek, Derek, Derek. One Saturday morning, I woke to find her in the living room, smiling at her phone. When I asked what was funny, she quickly locked the screen. "Nothing. Just a meme Lisa sent. But I had seen the name at the top. Not Lisa. Derek. I felt the shift happening. She was comparing us in her head, weighing options, testing whether the grass was greener with her ex. I could have confronted her then, demanded transparency, set a firm boundary. But part of me wanted to see how far she would take it. Part of me needed to know if she would choose me without me having to beg for it. 2 weeks before the dinner, she asked me a strange question over breakfast. If someone gave you a second chance at something you thought you lost, would you take it? I looked up from my eggs. Depends on why I lost it in the first place. She nodded slowly, like I had confirmed something she already suspected. Yeah, that makes sense. The conversation moved on, but the question sat heavy in my chest. I knew she wasn't talking about a job opportunity or a missed trip. She was talking about Derek. She was testing the waters, seeing if I would give her permission to explore what a reunion might look like. I started preparing myself emotionally. I knew the dinner she had planned for that Friday, November 10th, was not going to be a celebration of us. It was going to be a test, a manipulation, or an ending. Maybe all three. She chose Giovanni's, an upscale Italian place with dim lighting and cloth napkins. We had been there twice before, both times for special occasions. Anniversaries, celebrations. It was the kind of place you go to when you want to mark a moment. I arrived at 7:30 p.m. She was already seated, wearing a black dress I hadn't seen before. Her makeup was perfect. She looked like she was going somewhere after, or like she wanted me to remember her looking this good when she delivered whatever she had planned. We ordered appetizers, entrees, wine. The conversation was light, surface level. She talked about a new client at work. I talked about a project I was wrapping up. It felt like two strangers on a first date, not two people who had spent 2 years building a life together. Then, halfway through the main course, she set down her fork, took a sip of wine, and leaned back in her chair. Her expression shifted. Confident. Testing. Almost amused. I need to tell you something, she said. I waited. Derek reached out to me last week. He told me he made a mistake. He said he's been thinking about me, about us, about what we had. He said if I wanted to try again, he would be ready. I kept my face neutral. Okay. And she tilted her head slightly, like she was surprised I wasn't reacting. And I've been thinking about it. We had something real, you know? We were together for 3 years. That doesn't just disappear. So why are you telling me this? I asked. She leaned forward. Because I need to make a decision. I need to know if staying with you is the right choice. Derek told me he'd take me back tomorrow. Give me one reason not to leave you for him. The words hung in the air. Around us, other couples laughed, clinked glasses, shared desserts. I looked at her, this woman I had loved, trusted, made space for in my life, and I realized something I should have seen months ago. She didn't want a reason to stay. She wanted me to beg. She wanted me to panic, to list my qualities, to convince her of my worth. She wanted to feel powerful, desired, fought over. This dinner was never about us. It was about her ego. I picked up my napkin, wiped my mouth, and set it on the table. I reached for my wallet, pulled out 3 20s, and placed them next to my plate. Enough to cover my half, plus tip. Can you give me one reason I should stay at all? I said. Her eyes widened. What? You just told me you're considering leaving me for your ex. You've been emotionally halfway out the door for months. You brought me to a nice restaurant to test whether I'd beg you to stay. So I'm asking you, why should I stay in a relationship where I'm treated like a backup option? I wasn't. She stammered, her confidence cracking. I was just being honest with you. I thought we could talk about it. We just did. I stood, pushed my chair back. I hope Derek is everything you remember. But I'm not going to audition for a role I already have. If you're not sure you want to be here, then you're already gone. I walked toward the exit. Behind me, I heard her chair scrape, her voice rising slightly. Wait, where are you going? We're not done eating. I didn't turn around. I pushed through the heavy door into the November cold, pulled out my phone, and ordered a ride home. She didn't follow me outside. Update 1. The text started an hour later. 10 messages in a row, ranging from confusion to anger to something close to panic. I can't believe you just left me there. You completely overreacted. I was trying to have an honest conversation. You're really going to throw away 2 years over this? Derek isn't even serious. I just wanted to see how you'd react. That last one made me laugh. A bitter, tired laugh. She wanted to see how I'd react. Well, she saw? I didn't respond. I turned off my phone, poured a drink, and sat in my apartment in silence. For the first time in months, I felt a strange sense of clarity. I had been walking on eggshells, trying to be enough, trying to make her happy while she kept one foot out the door. And the moment I stopped trying, the moment I set a boundary, she panicked. By Saturday morning, my phone had 43 notifications. Most from her. A few from Lisa, her best friend. Lisa's messages were almost identical to Maya's. She didn't mean it the way it sounded. She's really upset. Can you just talk to her? I replied to Lisa with one sentence. If she wants to talk, she can apologize for treating me like a consolation prize. Lisa didn't respond. Sunday evening, Maya called. I let it ring. She called again. I declined. On the third attempt, I answered. What do you want, Maya? I want to explain. Her voice was tight, strained. Friday was a mistake. I shouldn't have brought up Derek like that. I was just confused, and I thought being honest would help us figure things out. Honest, I repeated. You ambushed me at dinner with an ultimatum. That's not honesty. That's manipulation. It wasn't an ultimatum. She was crying now. I needed to know where we stood. I needed to know you actually cared. If you need me to beg you to stay, then we don't stand anywhere. I kept my voice even, calm. I'm not going to convince you to choose me. You either want this, or you don't. I do want this, she said quickly. I want us. I made a mistake. Derek doesn't even want me back. There it was. The truth buried under the tears. She tried to reconnect with Derek, and he turned her down. Now she was scrambling, trying to salvage what she had walked away from. I'm sorry that didn't work out for you, I said. But I'm not your backup plan. I hung up, blocked her number, blocked her on social media. I didn't want breadcrumbs, apologies, or explanations. I wanted peace. Update 2. On Wednesday night, November 15th, my doorbell rang at 11:07 p.m. I looked through the peephole. Maya stood in the hallway, eyes red, hair pulled back, wearing sweatpants and a jacket. She looked nothing like the polished woman who had sat across from me at Giovanni's. I debated not answering, but something about the way she stood there, small and broken, made me open the door. Not to let her back in, just to hear what she had come to say. I know you blocked me, she started, voice shaking. I know you don't want to talk, but I need you to hear me. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. You have 5 minutes. She took a breath. I messed up. I know I did. Derek and I had been talking, and he was saying all these things about how he regretted ending things, how he missed me, and I got caught up in it. I started wondering if I had made a mistake choosing you over him. You didn't choose me over him, I interrupted. You were already broken up when we met. I know. She wiped her eyes. But in my head, it felt like I gave up something stable for something new. And when Derek came back, I panicked. I thought maybe I had been wrong. Maybe the safe choice was better. So you tested me. My voice was flat. You tried to make me fight for you. I thought if you really loved me, you'd fight. I laughed, a short, humorless sound. That's not love. That's insecurity. You wanted me to beg so you'd feel wanted. But the truth is, Maya, I did love you. I loved you enough to trust you, to give you space, to not control who you talked to. And you took that trust and used it to keep one foot out the door. She shook her head, tears streaming. I didn't know what I had until you left. Derek told me he wasn't interested. He said he only reached out because he was bored and wanted to see if I'd bite. When I told him you and I broke up, he laughed. He said I was an idiot for throwing away a good thing. He's right. I straightened. You did throw it away. But not because you chose him. Because you couldn't choose at all. I'm choosing now, she said desperately. I choose you. I choose us. Please, give me another chance. I looked at her, this person I had built a life with, and felt nothing. No anger, no sadness. Just a quiet, tired finality. I gave you 2 years of chances, I said. Every time you compared me to Derek, I let it go. Every time you pulled away, I gave you space. I bent over backward trying to make you happy. And the moment I stopped bending, you broke. I'll do better, she whispered. I swear. I'll never talk to him again. I'll prove to you that I'm serious. It's not about proving anything. I stepped back, hand on the door. It's about the fact that you only want me now because he doesn't want you. If Derek had said yes, you'd be at his place right now. I'm not going to be someone's second choice. Not yours, not anyone's. I closed the door. She knocked, called my name, begged me to open it again. I turned off the lights, went to my bedroom, and put in headphones. 20 minutes later, the knocking stopped. Update 3. She didn't give up easily. Over the next week, she tried everything. She sent flowers to my apartment with a card that read, "I'm sorry. Please call me." I threw them in the building's donation bin. She reached out to James, asking him to convince me to talk to her. James told her he wasn't getting involved, then called me to say, "She's really falling apart, man. But you made the right call." On November 22nd, she showed up at the coffee shop I freelanced from twice a week. She must have remembered my schedule. I looked up from my laptop to find her standing by my table, hands shaking, eyes rimmed red. "I'm not stalking you," she said quickly. I knew you'd be here, and I needed to see you." "You need to leave," I said quietly. Other patrons were starting to look. "I can't." Her voice cracked. "I can't eat. I can't sleep. I keep thinking about what I did, and I hate myself. I hate that I hurt you. I hate that I ruined everything." "Maya." I closed my laptop, looked at her directly. "What you're feeling right now is not love. It's regret. It's the fear of being alone. If I took you back, in 6 months you'd be bored again. You'd find another ex, another test, another way to feel powerful. I'm not doing this. You don't know that." She sat down across from me without asking. "People change. I've changed. I learned my lesson. In 1 week." I raised an eyebrow. "You learned a lifelong pattern in 1 week." She flinched. "That's not fair. Fair was me treating you with respect for 2 years while you kept a backup plan warm. Fair was me trusting you when you said your talks with Derek were innocent. Fair was me not making you feel guilty for pulling away. You want to talk about fair?" She started crying. People were definitely staring now. I flagged down a barista, paid my tab, and started packing my things. "I'll leave you alone," she whispered. "If that's what you really want. I'll leave you alone. That's what I really want." She stood, grabbed a napkin from the table to wipe her face, and walked out. I waited 5 minutes, then left through the back exit. I didn't want another scene, another ambush, another desperate plea. That night, Lisa called me. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. She told me what happened at the coffee shop. Lisa said without preamble, "I need to tell you something." "I'm listening." This isn't the first time she's done this. Lisa's voice was tight. With Derek, before you, she did the same thing. She had another guy, some coworker, and she played them against each other. She told Derek the coworker was interested, asked him to fight for her. Derek did, and she chose him. Then she got bored and started the cycle again. I leaned back against my couch, processing. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I'm tired of watching her hurt people." Lisa sighed. "You're a good guy. You didn't deserve what she did. And she's calling everyone in our friend group, playing the victim, saying you abandoned her over a misunderstanding. I wanted you to know the truth. Does everyone know about her pattern?" "Most people suspected. But she's good at spinning things. She makes herself seem vulnerable, confused, like she's just trying to figure out her feelings. But it's calculated. She likes having options. She likes feeling wanted." "Thanks for telling me. I meant it. I'm sorry you're in the middle of this." "I'm not anymore," Lisa said. "I told her today that I can't support this. I can't keep watching her manipulate people and then cry when it backfires. We're not friends anymore." After we hung up, I felt a strange sense of validation. It wasn't just me. It wasn't something I had done wrong, or something I could have fixed with better communication or more effort. This was who she was. A pattern. A cycle. And I had walked away before I got trapped in it. By early December, the fallout had spread through our mutual social circle. James told me that at a group hangout, someone asked where I was. When Maya said we had broken up, another friend, Chris, asked what happened. Maya tried to spin it as we grew apart, and timing wasn't right. Chris, who had apparently talked to Lisa, said, "That's not what I heard. I heard you gave him an ultimatum about your ex, and he walked out." According to James, the room went silent. Maya tried to backtrack, saying it was more complicated than that, but the damage was done. People started putting pieces together. The constant mentions of Derek, the emotional distance, the manipulation. 2 people left the hangout early. 3 others texted me afterward to say they were sorry and that they had suspected something was off. Maya's carefully curated image, the one where she was the thoughtful girlfriend trying to navigate complicated feelings, crumbled. Derek, apparently, heard about the dinner disaster through mutual friends. He posted something on social media about people who can't let go and knowing your worth. It wasn't explicitly about Maya, but the timing made it clear. She commented, trying to laugh it off. He deleted her comment and restricted her from his page. She started posting vague quotes about heartbreak, second chances, learning from mistakes. The kind of posts designed to bait sympathy. A few people liked them. Most ignored them. One person commented, "Actions have consequences. On yours." She deleted that post. By mid-December, she had gone quiet online. No more quotes, no more updates. James ran into her at a grocery store and said she looked tired, defeated. She asked about me. He said I was doing well. She nodded, said she was happy for me, and walked away. I wasn't happy yet, but I was getting there. It's now early January, almost 2 months since that dinner. I'm sitting in my apartment, coffee in hand, looking at a trip itinerary on my laptop. Japan. 2 weeks. Solo. Something I had always wanted to do, but kept putting off because Maya wasn't interested in international travel. I think about the version of me that walked into Giovanni's that night. The one who still hoped she would choose me without games, without tests. That version of me would have begged. He would have listed his qualities, his sacrifices, his love. He would have fought to prove his worth to someone who had already decided he wasn't enough. But the version of me that walked out, that turned the question around and asked for a reason to stay, he understood something fundamental. You don't fight for someone who's treating you like a prize to be won. You walk away and let them live with the choice they made. Maya tried to reach out one more time, 3 weeks ago. She sent an email because I had blocked everything else. The subject line read, "I understand now." I deleted it without reading. James asked if I was curious about what it said. I told him no. There's nothing she could say that would change what happened. No apology, no explanation, no promise of change. She revealed who she was, and I believed her. The trip to Japan is booked. 2 weeks of temples, food, trains, and silence. No one to compare me to, no one to test my worth, no one to keep as a backup. Just me, figuring out who I am outside of a relationship that drained me dry. I've started seeing someone casually. Emma, 27, a teacher I met through a friend. She doesn't play games. When she says she's interested, she means it. When she makes plans, she keeps them. It's simple, easy, refreshing. I don't know if it'll go anywhere, but I know what it's not. It's not a comparison. It's not a test. It's not a backup plan. People ask if I regret how I handled the dinner. If I wish I had stayed, talked it through, given her a chance to explain. The answer is no. The moment she asked me to audition for my own relationship was the moment it ended. She just didn't realize it until I stood up. I've learned something these past 2 months. Self-respect isn't loud. It's not dramatic confrontations or angry speeches. It's the quiet act of saying, "I deserve better than this," and walking away before someone convinces you otherwise. Derek did me a favor. By coming back into her life, he forced her to show her hand. If he hadn't, I might have stayed for years, always wondering if I was enough, always trying to earn a place I already had. Instead, I got out. I got free. Some people are meant to teach you what you won't tolerate. Maya taught me that. She taught me that love isn't a game, and anyone who treats it like one isn't someone you build a life with. I close the laptop, finish my coffee, and look around my apartment. It's quiet, peaceful, mine. For the first time in a long time, that's enough. The dinner bill I paid that night, $37, was the best money I ever spent. It bought me my dignity back. It bought me clarity. It bought me a future where I don't have to beg someone to see my worth. And that, it turns out, is priceless.